Hello guys, this is Leo from Quotes and Posters, and today I'm going to talk about this quote here, which is, "If you're going through hell, keep going," by Winston Churchill. So, Winston Churchill, it's like one of these guys that I respect a lot, and it's very interesting to hear whatever he has to say about politics and about life, because he was a very intelligent and brilliant man, and he's the author of many interesting quotes, which I'm now having the pleasure to design. And this one, particularly, "If you're going through hell, keep going," it's a very interesting quote, in my opinion, because it can have like totally different meanings, right? And what is my interpretation about this quote is that hell or problems or difficulties or negativity and basically problems that happen in life, they happen to everyone and they will keep happening, and it's actually something inevitable, right? So it's quite of interesting quote, because it's like very motivational, because in my opinion what this quote says is this, that you're not going to be able to avoid hell, and the only way to actually solve your problems is to embrace your problems, right? So I don't know about you, but like in my life I always struggled, and I always had difficulties with many things and many problems. Nothing came easy to me, and during many times, many situations, I was facing really difficult problems. I was going through hell, with relationships, with work, with whatever, because life is hard. That's the beauty of life. That's how life it is. It shouldn't be like this, but unfortunately it is, and it is to everybody. And imagine, like, put yourself in the shoes of Winston Churchill when he was actually dealing with he had to deal with Hitler. Imagine you are in a situation where you are the prime minister of a big nation like UK, and suddenly your role is to deal with a total fanatic like Hitler, right? And you have to come with the best decisions on how to deal with certain situations, and he managed to. And I think that the winning of the the end of the World War II and the defeat of Hitler is very much attributed to him to some extent. So put yourself in his shoes. Like, I don't know if when he created this quote he was referring to this particular moment in time of the World War II, but it's pretty accurate, right? Like, it's pretty much into it. The entire world, and especially Europe, were facing hell, and they had to struggle, and they had to deal with all this shit that was happening in the world. Imagine having the city and having the city that you live in, the country that you live, being constantly bombarded by like airplanes, or being invaded by troops, and then you lose everything that you had, and it's like a shift in life. Like, suddenly you have a lifestyle, and the other day you have nothing, right? And you have to move to have to run away to other countries is like barbarians. We as humans, we are barbarians, and all this hell, all this shit was happening during this time, and the only way to deal with this shit is to keep surviving, keep fighting, and keep dealing with it, right? So I think that's what the quote is all about. Like, if you're going through hell, keep going. So think about it. If you're having like some difficulties in your life now, if you're facing like a very difficult problem, and I'm sure many of you this year, we're recording this in 2020, and this has been a tough year for a lot of people, right? It's been a very difficult year. Many people lost their jobs. The economy is going crazy, it's going up and down, and nobody is really certain about the future and about how things are gonna unfold because of the pandemic, the coronavirus. So many people are struggling, and I was also struggling a couple of months ago, and luckily I managed to overcome. And so I was going through hell a couple of months ago, and I follow Churchill's advice. I just kept going, you know. I just kept doing what I had to do, and I just kept doing the best that I could do in this specific situation. And I was looking for jobs because I needed to have some source of income, because I was running out of money, and I really had to be very smart on how to find the proper job and with the right company and the right people. It's really it was really a struggle, and it's really painful when you are in a situation where you need to find a job, you want to find a job, but you're dealing also with a market that everybody's unemployed, so everybody's like struggling and fighting for the same position. So thousands of people were applying for the same position, and I was every day I was receiving these rejection emails that on my inbox, and I remember that I applied to around 800 jobs till I found the one that I'm currently in. So it's pretty crazy if you think about it, right? Because 800 jobs, 800 rejections so you get one. I mean, it's a numbers game, right? In a way, it's definitely not normal. We're not living in normal times, for sure. But I had no other thing that I could do, right? I mean, I had other things that I could do and that I did also. So I tried to also start new business. I also tried to start new things, like, for example, the quotes and posters is one thing. It's a project that for me is a great joy to be here talking about these things, but also it's something that I envision for the future, to make some living out of it. Maybe if you guys help me out and subscribe and hit the like button. So we all struggle, you know. Don't think that what's happening to you, and I know it's hard sometimes to acknowledge that, because you might think that the entire world is conspiring against you. And I also have these thoughts sometimes, you know, because even like, especially during this period that I was telling you that I was looking for jobs, I participated in a couple of job interviews. And I don't know if it happens to you, but you end the interview after 1 hour talking on the interview, you finish and you think in your mind that you think that everything went so well and so perfect that you got the job. You already, in your mind, it's very obvious that you got the job. And even sometimes the employer, he actually give you cues, like he give you indications that you already got the job, and then they just don't reply you back, or they reply you saying that you didn't get the job, and it's quite frustrating, you know. It's quite frustrating because in your mind, and you think the interview was so perfect that you and you know, you are 100% sure that you are the best person for this job. You know 100% about it. But that's life. That's life. You're dealing with people, and when you're dealing with people, you're dealing with nature. And when you're dealing with nature, even though you might want to believe, but the reality is that you never know how people react, and you never know what's behind some people's decisions, and you shouldn't be thinking too much about it, right? So also it's something interesting, something important here about that, is that I believe, like, whatever struggles you're having now and the shit that's happening to your life now, there's always a solution, and probably there are multiple solutions that you can explore. So what you need to do is, like Churchill says, you have to keep going, and you have to go with a strategy. Like, what's the strategy? What's the plan? You need a plan, and you need not just one plan. You need multiple options and multiple plans, because if plan A fails, you're gonna try plan B. If plan B fails, you're gonna try plan C. And then also during the process, you're gonna learn a lot from it. So you're going to be able to actually create new plans when something that you planned before didn't happen. And that's how you actually overcome your struggles, by action. You need action. You need to act. You need to, and that's another thing that I want to say, that I realized, at least for myself, is that when you're suffering, when your mind is down, when somebody that you cared let you down, when somebody really important in your life disappoints you, or something that you expected that was going to happen in your life just didn't happen, and you feel this huge negative feeling of frustration inside your mind, and this frustration like drags you through days and weeks. The thing that really, in my personal experience, helps me is to take action. It's not, because when I'm taking action, basically my mind, you only have one mind, and your mind is always going to be busy with thoughts. So it's either you're gonna be busy with negative thoughts about the frustrations that something that didn't happen in your life, or you're gonna be busy acting and being busy doing something else for the future. And so a lot of people, they make this mistake of actually, they just want to give up, and they just want to escape. So for example, they are really frustrated about something, like something that they were expecting didn't happen, and then they are in a situation, they're in a shit situation that's gonna take a lot of effort for them to get out of the situation. And I've been there, trust me, I've been there many times. You have to think that this is a phase in your life. It's just a phase in your life, and you need a new phase, and you need a new chapter in your life. But for you to have a new chapter, you need to act, right? And then what I did, the mistake I did many times, was that I didn't act properly, and I didn't put my actions in a very strategic way, and I was really the negativity and the mental energy, the bad stuff was actually bigger for me than it was my willingness to act, you know, because it is, man, it is. Like, imagine, like, sometimes you build something that you construct for many years, and then you just see this thing collapsing, for example. It's frustrating. It's like it demotivates you. You don't want to do anything else in your life. It's almost like you lost your life. You lost something important of your life that took you many years to build, and it's really demotivating. And then your mind is going to put exactly these negative thoughts on you, and your mind is going to prevent you from moving forward. And even like if deep down in your heart you know that you have to move forward, your mind is going to keep sabotaging you. And you need time. You need time, and you need patience with your mind. And you need action. So you have to make a combination of these things. You have to trust that time is going to heal your negativity, but for this to happen, you need actions. You need to act, because by acting, you are physically putting new thoughts in your mind, and your mind cannot have two thoughts at the same time. Either it has a negative one of what happened in the past, even it has a positive one that what can you do and what can happen in the future by the things that you're doing in the present, right? So trust me on that. Trust me on that. If you're going through some shit in your life and your mind is fucked up, trust me that if you start acting and start doing something to overcome your mind, you're gonna keep your mind busy, and it's going to help you a lot, because your mind will try to come with the negative feelings about the shit that happened. Of course it will, but you're gonna be conscious of that. You're gonna be conscious that your mind is trying, but you're gonna be busy doing this new thing that you're doing. So because you're going to be busy, it's going to be harder for your mind to knock on the door and to enter the room, your brain's room, and because that's what your mind does. Your mind is like this guest that you didn't invite into your apartment, and this guest just comes, invades your apartment, and trashes everything, and then leave, and then comes back again with more shit, and then trashes everything again. So what you have to do, you have to fill your mind with other people, with positive people, because then when this guest arrives, it's not going to have room for him. There's not going to be room for him, because it's already filled. Well, think about that as an analogy of how you can actually go through the hell and go through the shit that is happening in your life and overcome them. And then rest assured that new shit is gonna happen again. Even though you might try, you might prevent it, but of course you're gonna learn. You learn from your mistakes, from the bad stuff, bad relationships that you had in the past. Which everybody had. Like, everybody had bad relationships in the past, but you learn from it, and you learn to be more patient also. You learn to, like, really, when I was younger, I used to be very impatient. I used to be neurotic. I used to drink coffee and become neurotic and take actions, and not take actions without thinking, without doing proper strategy, without planning. I still do. I'm not saying I'm not a genius. I'm not saying that, but to some certain extent, you kind of learn from your mistakes. You learn from the things that you shouldn't have done and things you shouldn't have said, and people you shouldn't have spent much time with, right? Because it was a big waste of your time. You kind of learn from these things, and you move on. And then the next things, you move to a next level, to a more advanced level. And in this more advanced level, there's gonna be other shit that's gonna happen to you. It's like a video game, right? You got better, you move to a next level, and then the enemy comes, and then you have to know how to defeat the enemy and how to deal with this shit, so you can actually move to the next level and the next and the next and the next, and it goes like this, and then you're gonna reach a point in your life, which I didn't reach yet, but hopefully I will at some point. But yeah, I think you're gonna reach a point where everything is going to be under control. And I think you're gonna reach this point in your life where you just you just build kind of a castle around you that it's just impossible for the shit to come to you, because you already created so many backup mechanisms. You already have a plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D. Everything is already set in your life. So whenever, even if something really unexpected happen, it's going to be much easier to overcome than it was in the past, when you didn't have enough backups, you didn't have enough money or resources or whatever, right? And you can see this happening with rich people. Like if you look at rich people, millionaires, and people that achieved some kind of success in their lives, and I'm talking about really successful people, you see that they actually design their lives. So even if something really bad and unexpected happens, like say for example they work in an industry and the industry completely collapsed, but they saved money, they had their backup plans so they can move to something else. So intelligent people, successful people and rich people, they're very good with diversifying, right? So they create and structure their lives in a way that they can dilute the risks, so they don't place all their bets into something. And that's something that you also have to learn how to do in your life eventually. You have to diversify your risk, and you have to put your assets and your efforts into different directions. So if something happens in one thing, you still have other backups where you can easily recover, right? So yeah, it's all about strategy, it's all about action, and I think when you actually start taking action, you kind of automatically start cultivating a positive mindset for yourself and for your future, because when you're taking action, you're already doing something, right? And your mind is already occupied, and that's already something positive, right? Like I was saying. So think about these things. I know this kind of stuff that I say in motivational speeches in general, they are most of the times they're just advices, and they're just speeches, and they're just like cliche things that everybody says, and then that putting in practice, it's another story. It's completely another story. It's totally hard, but at least what I'm trying to say here is I'm trying to come with reason, and I'm trying to come with some considerations and some thoughts that I think, to me at least, they make a lot of sense. And I hope that what this can do to you is at least it can give you some opportunity, give some food for thought, Right, so you can actually understand, you can reflect on these things that I'm saying, because it's about listening and getting different opinions like this one that I'm giving, and creating your own reflections on it, create your own thoughts on it. Because if you really understand what I'm saying, if it really resonates with you and it really makes sense to you, deep down in your subconscious, it's going to be easier than to absorb. And because when you know and when you agree about something, then you start doing, you start changing your life. It's a mindset, right? So thank you very much. It was great talking about this code to you, like really, really amazing. I'm really happy doing this project. And please help me with the channel, subscribe, click the likes and do whatever you want, or click the dislike if you don't like. And here you go. If you're going through hell, keep going by Mr. Sir Winston Churchill, sir. Thanks. Bye.